Hello friends, this is Adam with Movie Guide 365, and in this video I'm going to go over 10 Christmas movies you definitely need to own on 4K. It's that magical time of year where we sing a lot of Christmas songs, we decorate, we buy some gifts for our loved ones, and more importantly, sit down with a good Christmas movie to enjoy during the season. Now, when it comes to Christmas films, especially on home formats, a lot of the years past, of course, DVD, Blu-ray, there were a ton of Christmas movies, and there still are. But when it came to 4K, not so much. There were a few that trickled in early in the format's life cycle, but nowadays, I feel we get a lot more. And I would even say this year in particular, there were a lot of good 4K releases that came out that had to do with the Christmas season. So in this video, I thought I would share 10 Christmas movies you should definitely check out on 4K, especially if you want the best possible picture quality. And as always, with movie lists like this is going to be my personal list. Yours will be very different, but I do encourage you to put in the comment section below what Christmas movies on 4K would you recommend to the rest of us. All right, so let's not waste any more time. Let's dive right in. When it comes to Christmas movies, you can incorporate all manner of genres, whether it's horror, action, comedy, romance. And I like to have the whole setting of Christmas pretty much with any of those. The only thing I don't think they've ever done, to be honest, is a Western. Maybe correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but have they ever done a Christmas Western? That would be actually very interesting. But for my first pick, I'm going to go with Violent Night. David Harbour as Santa is really great casting. I think he looks like he's having fun doing the role. And of course, you have the whole Christmas theme in the backdrop of a family having a Christmas, a very wealthy family. And some bad guys come in to do a little bit of robbery / hostage taking. That's basically what it's kind of all about. But the film itself is a lot of fun. And especially if you're a 4K collector and you really want that great looking picture. And of course, the Dolby Atmos in this one is really well done. I love the film. It's a lot of fun. I've recently added, of course, to my rotation. I'll be doing a watch probably in the next day or so. But Violent Night on 4K, I easily recommend you check this one out. When it comes to Christmas comedies, I tend to gravitate towards those, I think, more than any others when I do my yearly Christmas watch rotation. And this one is no exception. Bill Murray starring in Scrooged, a recent release from Paramount, I think looks really solid on 4K. If you know Paramount catalog releases, they can be a little bit iffy and you're really kind of holding your breath when you get your copy. But I think the transfer looks really, really solid. And I am a big fan of the film. Once again, it's kind of like been in my yearly rotation since I remember seeing it in the theaters. Little small trivia fact, I had a classmate of mine actually appear as an extra. I always see him when I watch the film. But yeah, I enjoy the film. It's a lot of fun. And it's good that we got a very decent 4K transfer of this movie. So yes, Scrooge, check this one out on 4K. Another recommend that you pick up on 4K for the Christmas season. I think a lot of people are already going to own this one, but they may not be aware it's out on 4K. It just came out a few short months ago. But Tim Burton's The Nightmare Before Christmas, yes, definitely own this one on the 4K format. When it comes to Disney, kind of like Paramount, they can be a little hit or miss with their releases, but I feel with their quote-unquote classic movies, they've been on a roll lately. And I think The Nightmare Before Christmas has a really solid transfer. But really, the visual upgrade over the Blu-ray, it's something I think a lot of cinephiles will appreciate, especially, those that really embrace 4K. I love this film. It's just one of those that is in constant rotation, whether it's Halloween or Christmas or somewhere in between. I love the movie. But yes, The Nightmare Before Christmas on 4K, have no fear, it is a really good transfer. Of course, you're going to have to put some iconic films on this list. And if you think of director Bob Clark, you're probably going to gravitate right towards A Christmas Story. But I also wanted to include a second title in this particular entry on the list, and that is Black Christmas. The man directed both films. Both are Christmas movies, but they are decidedly different type of films. Of course, obviously, one's horror, one's a family holiday classic, but I think that it's great when a director can have different styles and he can take on different genres and be comfortable in either. So yes, A Christmas Story, what can I say? It's a classic for many, many reasons. And I'm very happy that we have a 4K copy, and I think the upgrade is done very well. Shout Factory, Screen Factory handled the 4K release of Black Christmas, and I think it has a really good transfer. It's not quite as clean as A Christmas Story. They were done just a couple years apart, but they're both worth owning on the 4K format. If you're a horror fan, definitely go for the original. Don't even bother with the remakes. But yes, the original Christmas Story and Black Christmas from director Bob Clark, I recommend both of these. This next one came out a few years ago, released by Disney, but it was once a 20th Century Fox film, and it is a classic. Home Alone on 4K is something that you should definitely check out. Transfer is really, really good. I was very impressed with it, and I continue to be so every time I pop it in the 4K player. And I know the first thing I'm going to hear in the comments is, "Where's Home Alone 2?" I don't know. I think maybe one day Disney will decide to release a physical copy of it. It's obviously not going to be this year. It could be next. Who knows? But yes, the original Home Alone, which I prefer over the sequel, I really like it. It's got everything. It's comedy, it's Christmas, it's Chris Columbus. I mean, there's a lot to this film that I enjoy immensely. And the 4K, have no fear, it looks really good, and it is one that I wholeheartedly recommend to you to pick up on the format. As a 4K collector, nothing warms my heart more than getting a classic film on 4K and the transfer turns out to be really good. And if you want to add in a good Christmas-themed holiday film with a musical, and just, I really think you should check out Holiday Inn on 4K. I am absolutely impressed with the results of this film on the formats. Once again, it is a classic musical starring Fred Astaire and Bing Crosby. They have such a great, friendship and duo thing going on. And the film, it doesn't quite squarely focus on Christmas. I mean, Christmas is a big part of it, but I always pop this one out during the holiday season. But you could just as easily do it during Easter or any other time of year. But Holiday Inn on 4K, once again, meets all the requirements of a good 4K transfer. And I think as a classic film and musical, it's something that you should definitely check out. If you've never seen it, I would highly encourage you to do so. Going back to the horror-themed Christmas films for a second, I am very happy that we got this next one on the formats. I know it was one of those titles that there were rumors about a year leading up to it, and it finally arrived. And this is, once again, another Shout Factory, Screen Factory release. And I'm talking about Krampus. If you want to go a little bit, I don't know if I would call it anti-Christmas, but I mean, Krampus, it featured in this film, it's got a whole, element to it that it's a really creepy, well done, holiday themed film, and the 4K looks fantastic. I enjoy going back to this quite a bit, and it's also got a really solid audio track. I remember every time you get to that scene where Krampus is leaping from roof to roof, it really gives you a nice thump. And the surround stuff is really done well. But yes, the visual enhancement on this one is more than worth trading in your old Blu-ray. I enjoy this one thoroughly every single year. Krampus on 4K, I'm so happy that we have it on the formats, and it's something you should definitely check out for yourself. Going back to the classic films for a moment, this next one is probably going to be one of the most obvious on this list, but actually, if you really want to break it down, it isn't too much of a Christmas movie, but there are some very important Christmas scenes. It is often associated with the holiday, so I thought I would include it on the list, and it is also a really well done classic film. I'm talking about It's a Wonderful Life. I love this movie, and this is another example of a classic film given the respect it deserves on the formats. Yes, it's black and white, but don't let that, fool you that HDR and Dolby Vision won't really be able to enhance this film, because it does. It gives you that really beautiful, crisp picture. It doesn't take away any of the film grain. And I love how it looks on 4K. And I know Paramount has released this in both a slipcover and steelbook edition. And once again, you can kind of argue with the merits of it being a true Christmas film. I'll let it slide, but yeah, It's a Wonderful Life with James Stewart and Donna Reed. Check this one out if you haven't already done so. For my next pick is a personal favorite of mine, The Polar Express. And while, yes, the animation is still a bit dated, it doesn't look as good as what we would see in today's films that were made entirely from CG or computer animation. I still really enjoy it. And the 4K is actually surprisingly a good upgrade over the Blu-ray. I enjoy the implementation of HDR on this one. It takes that palette and gives it a nice richness to it. And the film looks, actually, it's like it's been given a fresh coat of paint all over. I enjoy the movie. I only wish they would have added a new audio mix to this. I think the DTS is a really solid offering, but I would have loved to have seen what an Atmos track would have done. But I still maintain that a 4K release of the Polar Express should be in your library. I proudly watch mine, you know, at least, well, this will be the second year. It came out last year, but I love the movie. It's once again a good time. It's very quick, and I think it looks beautiful on 4K. Before I get to my last pick, just a couple of quick honorable mentions. While not, I would say, directly referred to as Christmas movies, I'm still going to include them in some way, shape, or form. So just a quick shout out to the first one, The Green Knight. I absolutely love this movie. It is a movie that takes place more or less on a Christmas day, and then a Christmas day a year later. But I think if you're a 4K collector, you are going to get a really show-stopping visual and audio presentation. I fully recommend this movie. I know it's not for everybody, but I enjoy it immensely, and I will watch this one for many years to come during Christmas. And of course, Die Hard. I mean, there's no question that Die Hard should be watched during Christmas, but you can also watch it in the middle of the year. It doesn't matter. But yeah, I mean, when you think of a Christmas movie, action film, Die Hard is going to be on top of most people's list, so I wanted to include it on this one. And lastly, Batman Returns. I really love that this film, a Batman movie, takes place at Christmas time. And the aesthetic that Tim Burton has for this film, I mean, his Gotham City is already like one of the most unique fictional locations in all of cinematic history. And to add that whole Christmas element, I think it just works on so many levels. Once again, you can watch this any time of the year, but for me, it just adds a little bit of extra magic to watch it during Christmas. So yes, Batman Returns, I definitely think you should watch this one during the Christmas season. And for the last Christmas movie that I would recommend you need to own on 4K, that will go to one of my all-time favorite Christmas comedies, Christmas Vacation. I am the biggest fan of this film. I mean, every year, in no matter what formats, I watch this one. And I was very pleasantly surprised when Warner Brothers announced we were getting a 4K for this. Because honestly, the Blu-ray is a bit dated. It's not great, but the 4K upgrade is more than worth the upgrade price, and I highly recommend you check it out. This is one of those films that I can recite almost every single line. I laugh every time at the same parts. The characters are amazing in this, and just the overall setting, I think, really, it makes it, in my opinion, almost a nearly perfect Christmas movie. So, Christmas Vacation on 4K, go ahead and sell that old Blu-ray and upgrade to it. I do not think you'll be disappointed, and it is one of the top recommendations on this list. So those are my top recommendations of Christmas movies on 4K that you should definitely own for yourself. If you're interested in any of the titles I talked about in this video, I will leave direct Amazon links in the comment section. And if you use them, they really help out the channel. But now it's your turn. What titles on 4K that have to do with Christmas would you recommend to the rest of us? Sound off in the comments. In the meantime, please like, subscribe, hit that bell notification. So until next time, this is Adam with Movie Guy 365. I will see you at the movies.